Hi and welcome to Teach Start, and in today's video we're going to be looking at the importance of having a school vision. Now, I don't know if you're like me, and back when I was training and the head teacher or senior leaders in the school were talking about vision and talking about where they wanted the school to go, and I listened but I didn't really take it in that much. And I was more focused on my lessons and making sure my lessons were good and planned, and that the students were doing what they were supposed to do and that I was doing what I was supposed to do. And yet, looking back now, I completely underestimated the importance of having that vision as a school. Vision sets out why it is that you are doing everything that you're doing. What is the goal? Where is the school trying to move to? There isn't a school in the country that is perfect. Every school has its flaws. Some schools maybe arguably have more flaws than others and are in different stages of the journey. Yet I have worked with schools that haven't had a clear vision, and this is what this video is really talking about: is how do you know if your school's got a vision? What do you do if your school doesn't have a vision? And equally, what happens if you don't agree with that vision? So it's going to be quite a complicated video, but I'm going to try and keep it simple, because there's so many different types of school and different types of situation you might find yourself in. So what is a vision? A vision, as I said, is where the school's trying to go. Have a think now, at the school you're currently at, do you know what the school is trying to do? Do you know where they're trying to go? And don't mean for short-term things like they're trying to implement a homework policy. No, that's not a vision. A vision is, I want to be in a school where students do this, where teachers are like this, where the school is like this. And it's supposed to be something abstract rather than tangible, but the tangible elements are all there to try and drive that vision, to try and get to that goal. Well, what happens if you can't answer that question? That if I ask you what's the vision of your school and you can't answer it, or can't answer it quickly, and you have to kind of think, well, the head teacher said some things about this, so I'm guessing their vision is this. You are probably, and maybe not always, but probably in a bit of a situation in your school. If the head teacher and the SLT team, the senior leadership team, haven't provided you with that vision, haven't made you absolutely buy into that vision and be able to recite it off the top of your head, then you might be in a school with some difficulties in the future. Schools without vision only really think about now and only react to things that are happening now. Which sounds like it's necessary in some schools. It's never necessary. If you don't think that far ahead in the future, if you're not thinking, 10 steps in the future, like in 5 years, 10 years, where do we want to be as a school, then you will never improve. You're just, I think the expression is putting out fires the whole time, and you won't ever develop a school into something that as a teacher you would want to be at for 5-10 years. And that's our goal as teachers. No one that I know is a teacher because they only want to be a teacher for a year and then they want out and cash in or whatever. Like that's going to happen. Everyone wants to be in their job for the long term. No one joins the school, like obviously substitute teachers do, but no one joins the school permanently to only be there for a year or two. So you need to ask yourself the question, if you don't know what the school's vision is, you need to ask yourself that question of, can I be here for that long then? If I don't know where it's going and it feels like it's going to stay the same, do I want to be involved in that? And my answer would always be no. I would never want to be in a school. And thankfully, to a certain degree, I've never really been in a school that has lacked completely the vision. I've had some schools that have been better than others, but I would never ever want to be in a school that said, right, no, we don't have a vision, like our pure job is to keep the status quo, keep us at where we're at now, and that's it, I don't want anything further. It would worry me if that was the case, and it should worry you. I think NQT person, the newly qualified teacher person from years ago, would go, oh, whatever, I'm focused on my job. But with my experience and looking at what happens with schools that have lacked vision, it's not worth it. You will find out that in 2 years, 3 years, the same things that you have picked up that is wrong with the school and that you're hoping that they sort out, they only ever put band-aids on it, then they're not ever going to really revolutionise the way of thinking in the school and really sort out the root causes, because you need vision to really change stuff. If you're only ever thinking of the now, you're only ever putting band-aids on it, putting plasters on it, and just trying to cope and trying to put out fires. So vision is so important, and completely underestimated the importance of vision for most staff. And thankfully, most head teachers and senior leaders in schools understand the importance of it. And I know for a fact that the training providers for head teachers and on courses for middle managers and for senior leaders all talk about vision, which is really fantastic. The second area I wanted to go into today is what happens if you don't agree with the school's vision. So, for instance, if you absolutely passionately believe that the vision of the school should be to make the school more academic, that actually we're as a school underestimating the capabilities of our students, and we should be driving a more academic timetable and more academic kind of expectations over the students, looking at the university if they're going to, etc., etc. But your school's vision is to try and get as maximum amount of people in the school as possible. So by having to do that, having that as their goal, trying to, that's every school's goal, but they decide that the vision has to be to, make the curriculum more diverse, make it more vocational curriculum, not to push sixth form so much, not to push university so much, but to put apprenticeships first, etc., etc. Absolutely valid kind of understanding from both ways. I can understand why you'd want more academic timetable, I can understand why you'd want a more vocational timetable. But what if you're in that school where they're going this way and you're going that way? Well, you could talk to them and obviously talk to the head teacher and say, I really feel that this is an area where, we are underestimating our students and the students could do a lot better. You could talk to senior leaders, you could talk to your line manager and try and discuss it out. But chances are, if they've come to that conclusion that that's the way they want the school to go, to the kind of more vocational side, and you absolutely feel that they should go the other way, then there's not an awful lot you can do, apart from one thing, which is open to all teachers, is to find a school that actually is more academic and does understand, that side of teaching. And it could be vice versa. You could be wanting a more vocational timetable, and the school could be looking for more academic. It doesn't matter which side it is. But there are some times where you've got to ask yourself, are you in the right school? There's plenty of very specific schools out there that are driving academia and driving kind of apprenticeships and vocational stuff. Like there are those mix of schools. Grammar schools are a very good example of one where it drives academia 100%. And there's schools I know that are pushing more vocational courses, even though the government is kind of shifting everyone towards academic subjects. But you have to find the right school for you. A friend of mine went on a job interview a few years ago, and I said, how did it go? And they said, I knew straight away it was not the school for me, and that it was a very posh school, and they were very well spoken, and actually the teacher was more relaxed and liked having jokes with the students, and they knew straight away, looking at the classes and looking at the way people talked, it wasn't the kind of atmosphere you'd be able to joke around. It would be the kind of atmosphere where the students are expecting, the top marks by having very structured and very formal lessons. So, I think that's an okay thing to be as a teacher. It's absolutely okay to say this school is not the right one for me, and I think that I wish people come to that conclusion quicker, and move schools to one that's more suitable for them, rather than what we're finding is a lot of people are just quitting the profession, and not just in the UK but across the world. And actually I think that people should give teaching a lot more of a chance, because there are schools out there, like every school I've been to and worked at and worked with and heard of, and my friends' schools and stuff like that, they're all so different, so different, and they all have completely different priorities, weirdly, because you'd think that, no, the priorities are just grades. But actually, yes, obviously every school's priority is student numbers and grades, but how they get there is very different. There's some very strict schools, there's some very relaxed schools. I mean, look into Steiner schools if you want the ultimate relaxed schools. And I don't mean relaxed as academically, but their views on behaviour are very different, and not necessarily better or worse, but very different to mainstream. So there's plenty of topics I've kind of covered in this video, but I really think that as teachers we need to really understand the vision of our school. And if you don't know, go to your head teacher, or go to a senior leader, or go to your line manager and ask them, what is the vision of the school? And that is not a stupid question. That is a very good question. And if they fob you off or say, oh well, you know, results, then you're probably going to have a tough time staying at that school, in my experience. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you've got anything to say about the stuff I've said in the video today, it's been a little bit longer one than usual, please comment below. I'm really interested in hearing people's views. Part of the reason why I do this channel is to try and communicate with people who are also teachers, not just in England, not just in the UK, but across the world. I've got friends who are teachers in America who have very different experience, and I understand that almost every state in America is run very differently to each other. But they have a really tough time, and I feel sorry for them. But they do have some advantages, but they're not advantages that I personally would be able to cope with. For instance, they have their lessons planned for them, and yeah, I kind of would love to do a video on teaching across the world. And obviously we in England at the moment, we're very interested in Singapore and how they do maths teaching there. So it's always interesting to communicate in those ways. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you want to see more from us, please click subscribe. We release videos every single weekday at 5 o'clock in the evening. Thank you.